Welcome one, welcome all, and this is a DraftKings focused show. So if you're looking for a 10-game slate, well, you're going to be on FanDuel, but we'll be covering the 6 games up on DraftKings today. I got man going with me. What better way to spend the pre-Masters Wednesday than with my guy Mangone, who I know is going to be in the golf streets tomorrow. A bunch of golf contests. I mean, they already filled the birdie contest on DraftKings. It always amazes me, Mangone. They always crush it on Masters Week for DraftKings. Like, I swear, they have the biggest contest, and they always fill a day ahead of time. They could be even more aggressive if they wanted to. How are you doing? How are you looking forward to the Masters as well?
I am. I'm looking forward to Bryson's Masters victory, Rubio. So I'm pumped for that. Yeah, I didn't know that birdie. What was first place in that?
Oh man, I don't know if probably 100K or 250 because I think it was over a mil prize pool, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah, it had to be. Okay, I didn't get in that, so I missed it. Oh well. I'm in some other stuff, so I'm okay with what I'm in. So I got to make sure I don't miss the millie as well. I know there's a. I said if you deposit $10, you get $10 for an entry in that over on DraftKings. So that's a promo that we have. Not us have going on, but DraftKings has going on. So all you have to do is deposit $10, do the promo, opt in, and you'll be able to get into that contest. So yeah, I actually still have to do it. I haven't done it yet. I thought I did, so I'm gonna make sure I do that, Rubio, and get my $10 for the golf entry. That way I can play tomorrow.
That's exactly it. So if you deposit $10 in DraftKings and haven't accepted the promo yet, you don't even have to accept it, actually. You can just go to the deposit page. It'll say if you deposit $10, you'll also get a $10 ticket that can be used for the Masters Millie Maker. Again, that is completely up to you. If you want to deposit $10 and get a $10 ticket, it sounds like a pretty damn good deal to me. I took advantage of that. The NASCAR show we did on Sunday, Mangone, I was able to deposit $10 and get my ticket there too. So you're exactly right. It will be a Bryson DeChambeau show, hopefully for 4 days. If not, I will be slightly disappointed. He is my favorite golfer, but we have NBA to talk about. If you do want all the golf content that we have for the Masters, you'll have a premium show with JBC, Bryce, and Sully Bro Chill, who's one of the top 10 DFS players in the world, without a doubt. You also have shows going on right now. I think the one that might have just wrapped up, it was the 3 p.m. show for the Masters as well, I believe. So, and you also had a couple yesterday with Wiley. You had AP and Snyder on as well doing a Saber Sim lineup builder. So you have no shortage of Masters content. We can go ahead and dive into a 6-game NBA slate. Again, if you want any of that content, RPS 15% off your first payment. We will be covering the night slate, I assume, in the Discord as well. So, Mangone, 6 games, lots of murky news. You're happy that the OKC game is not on the DraftKings slate because that is going to be quite the mess and probably the move on FanDuel. All right, but when we look at just DraftKings specifically, you have a Philadelphia 76ers team and a Washington Wizards team. 2 teams trying to lose. However, did you see that nuke that Sar had last night, man? A huge 50-piece. I mean, I'll say this. I was wrong about Sar. I didn't think he even had this type of DFS performances in him, to start out in the Summer League and stuff. But it turns out, when you're the top projected guy in this game, he is projecting incredibly well. He'll be high 6,200. You have Jared Butler, Bub Carrington. These 3 guys all project for 6x or more using the Saber Sim or Run Pure Sports projections. Actually, Run Pure Sports projections has it the same way. What do you think about this game? It seems like it's going to be loaded from a DFS standpoint.
Yeah, Rubio, I've been on the Sar train for a while, so you don't have to convince me to play him. Obviously they were missing guys yesterday. Me and JSU talked about it, and then I got more on board with him as the show went on because I realized, hey, they are missing more guys, and it's going to be a better spot. Another guy that went off was our guy Okongwu. Okongwu had a massive game yesterday. I couldn't believe it against the Magic at like whatever he was, 8,400 or whatever insane price tag, but 7,800, I don't know. But it was, he went off too. So we will talk about this game because it's a battle of a bunch of losers, right? I'm curious what they're going to do here in this game. So for one, Philadelphia they look like they're going to be healthy. I assume Grimes and Edwards play, and by healthy, I mean not Embiid, right? But they got Grimes, they got Butler, Walker, Bona, Edwards, Council. That's kind of like the core, 6. And then you got Hood Scafino off the bench. Castleton ended up signing there. You got Reese, Doughton. They could be a little more crowded. But as I've said on all these shows, and I said it yesterday, I feel like whenever Washington plays a team, you need guys on the other side. So I am going to be interested in Quentin Grimes, right? Like, even though he's 8'9", I don't really care. I mean, salary, yes, it is a thing, but this time of year, it's not as much a thing, right? We can easily get 8.9K guys in there if we would like. And listen, I would like to play him. I think he's in play. Ownership on these guys, it looks like it's going to be, high on some of them, specifically Jared Butler as one at 5'7", Alani Walker at 5'7" as well. I want to see who's starting. I do think that matters a little bit. There's a chance Lonnie Walker doesn't start and they start maybe a council over him, but we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't want to predict it. I don't need to predict it. This is a 7:00 game. This is where it starts. Yep. So I don't have to play that guessing game. And the Edwards and Grimes status matters because if those guys happen to miss, that would just be even bigger boost for the Butlers, the Walkers. Like, that would make them go into being like good plays right now to priority plays. And I would even say this. If you tell me that these guys are in and Butler and Walker are going to be at that 40-ish%, that might be a little over-owned at the price tag. I'm just going to call that out. I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I would just think about that a little bit on this slate. There's going to be so many good plays we can get to, though. We don't know the Grimes and Edwards news, though. That's super important, and it's hard to really figure that out. That's why I got to be a Discord member and get in there, but we can break it down as best as we can like we just did. Wizards side of the ball. I am with you, Rubio. For one, I want to be lower on – I think I want to be lower on the Wizards in general right now. It is only a 6-game slate, so that's not super easy to do. There's ownership on these Wizards for good reason. The game's going to be high scoring. I like Sarr. Like, Sarr is one guy I can definitely get behind. Justin Champagnie, he's been really good. I can get behind him as a starter. Carlton Carrington, he's fine. Like, at 5'8", do you like Carrington or do you like the Sixers guys, like the Butlers and the Walkers, right? Like, for me, Rubio, I like those Sixers guys better than Carrington. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I do recognize, the last time we were on a show and I mentioned Bub's name, and he went absolutely nuclear that game, right? He has kind of like, whenever you're a rookie and stuff, you don't have the reins. He was playing with Kuzma, he was playing with Poole. But then you kind of see these guys kind of off on their own a little bit, man, going, and look at those minutes. Like, he is taking just insane shot attempts, too. 18, 16, 19 the last 3 games, averaging 40 minutes, 40.33 minutes a game in that span, right? You also look at it, too, where with these shot attempts, he's underperforming 13 points, 14 points, but he's still kind of getting into the 25 to the 30s almost. I think he's got upside for 40. I actually think I would prefer, Bub Carrington, especially if those guys like, that you mentioned earlier, if the Sixers are in. I think Bub Carrington is just one of those guys who's kind of a sleeping giant, especially when 2 teams who aren't really known for playing much defense. I will absolutely kind of eat up the Bub Carrington chalk just because of what he is capable of from a usage standpoint is way higher than what I think the other guys can be capable of.
Okay, maybe that's something I should think a little bit more about. I just saw his ownership, though, and I was like, do I want to play 45% Bud Carrington? Like, I just don't know. So for me, it's right now, Sarr is 1. I think Champagnie's number 2 and Carrington's 3. You probably have that reverse between Carrington and Champagnie. The other guys to talk about now, they are missing guys right now. Vukcevic, if he starts, I think he's interesting, but this slate could have really good value where it's like you might want to think about who you're rostering. Like, some slates we've rostered Colby Jones. This might not be a good slate to do it. I'm concerned about a guy like Colby Jones. I don't think he's a great play there. AJ Johnson, at 4.9, I'm not dying to get to him. I think there's better plays. So I'm fine with Sarr, Carrington, and Champagnie. The rest of the guys feel a lot thinner, and they are getting some ownership. It's not nothing. I'm not trying to be an ownership slappy, but I am trying to think about on this slate, do I want to play Colby Jones? I know it's off the bench, but does off the bench matter this time of year? You get what I'm saying, Rubio. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not getting overexposed to this spot when I know there's a lot of good spots on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You don't want to be overexposed to a spot. I mean, not all slates are the same and stuff. Like Sarr yesterday was 11%, right? So then today he's going to be maybe 50%, right? So, you do want to capture it at the right time. I mean, that is probably the number one thing with fantasy, right? You don't want to be just completely chalk across the board. I know that you preach that a lot and stuff, but yesterday you could have had a really good lineup and had almost 500% ownership, right? But at least Sarr could have gotten you a little bit different.
I mean, it's fine. Listen, it's fine playing these guys. I'm just the point I'm getting at is you could fade those
the Colby Jones and the AJ Johnsons are like, if they're 20% owned, go to like 8% owned, right? I know not everyone's MMEing or anything like that, but I don't want people to think they just have to game stack this game and move on. You can certainly just play, one or two of Sarr and Carrington and Champagny, and then one or two of Butler, Walker, Grimes, some of those starters, and then just move on, right? Like to some of these later games. But and you don't have to go that many, but that's already a lot. So that's the point I'm getting at. I see a lot of ownership on this game. There's a lot of good spots on this slate, and there could be news coming that we're not expecting, obviously. I mean, this time of year is crazy. So I just want to call it out. Is this the game of the slate, you'd argue? It might be the game of the slate right now. That could change later on, I think, though.
Do you want to know my favorite bet for this game?
I've
already talked about him. I'll ruin it.
Sarr double-double?
You know what? I could definitely be down for a Sarr double-double bet.
What is that line?
I want you to guess what that line would be, because it's actually shockingly higher than I would have thought.
Yeah, it's by higher you mean it's like
in a good way, in a really good way.
Oh, so you can get like so you're gonna tell me it's like plus 250?
Plus 290 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
I almost said plus 300. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I plus 290, and I also, if you really want to get into like the specifics of it, Bub Carrington 16 plus points. All right, I really like that with the shot attempts he's got, and the Philadelphia 76ers defense is nothing to fear. You have a very healthy total in this game.
What's that line?
16 points, minus 110.
Oh, minus 110. Okay. What are his shot attempts? Why don't you tell the people? Just because I know you probably have it memorized, but I think you should tell the people, because you may have sold me more on Carrington, and I did watch him a little bit the other day, and he broke Halliburton's ankles. Like, he's definitely like getting better. And that's
in that game where he did that, he only had 13 points but on 19 shot attempts, right? But you look at the Pacers game, that's always going to be a pace-up game. Pacers, one of the best spots in the league, right? Boston and Orlando, two games where, Boston isn't the highest paced team. They score a lot of points because they shoot a lot of threes, but they're still pretty low in terms of pace. The Magic are one of the worst in pace. He still chucked up 34 shots in those two games against those two slow-paced teams. I'm all aboard the Bub Carrington train. I'll probably ladder him up to like 25 even, because he did score 32 against Orlando, but I like him.
Can I mention, if Marcus Smart starts, we do not even consider playing him. I know he started the last time. I just think it's too shaky. I don't think.
So can I counter that with Marcus Smart started when in the game that he got 32 points in?
He got 30. Oh, and the one that Carrington got 32 points?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's probably because he like distributed a little better and stuff. But all I'm saying is I don't want to play Marcus Smart. Even like I'm not. If Marcus Smart is starting, I'm not just shoving on 60% like of my lineups, right? Like I'm.
No. Oh, you're talking about Marcus Smart. My bad. Oh, yeah, we're not playing Marcus Smart at all. We're not doing that.
I know, that's what I'm just telling the people. Like, so he started like last week at some point. Like he randomly got us
the Magic. I thought you were saying that about Bub Carrington. Yes.
No.
The Magic played 25 minutes. You know who played 37 minutes? Colby Jones off the bench.
Yeah.
Like there's still a path to where Marcus Smart barely plays.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. And I'm stating it because, Rubio, we don't know what's going to happen in these games and the starting lineups, and just trying to like get ahead for people and be like, hey, if this happens, I don't like it. But for more of our conversation, I think Sarr, Carrington, and Champagny, I'm going to keep that as my tight pool. I'm going to try not to play the AJ Johnsons and the Colby Jones and play other values. And then Sixers side, it's probably Butler, Walker, Bona, Grimes are like the main ones. I don't even love Justin Edwards at that one, and I need to see who's in and out. That could obviously change something. That's kind of where I'm at. So like those like 6 or 7 guys is where I'm at for that game.
So last time we did a show was last week, and I did play AJ Johnson. He was my only dud in that lineup. I ended up min cashing, but I had AJ Johnson in my single entries and stuff, and he had such bad foul trouble in that game, and it was just absolutely tilting me.
He's just terrible and always owned, right? Like yeah. I'm not. It's like that 20%. Like I can give it to other players that are like better basketball players, and like I don't know. I just don't think it's like, when is not playing AJ Johnson kills you? I don't know.
No, it won't kill you. Real quick pop quiz: where did Colby Jones go to college?
University of Washington.
University of Washington. Are you serious? Xavier University. Why would I ask you a question that isn't related to the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area?
Oh, I don't know. That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. I should have known that. That's on me.
Yeah, you know me. I cherry pick to make sure that those schools get
represented. That's on me. I should have understood that.
All right, so we'll go ahead and any last thoughts on this game? I mean, this is a game that we're going to be very high on. The only bench guy I would consider amongst these games is Colby Jones, just purely because he could play 30-plus minutes, but I don't think you're going to need it much on this slate. Vucevic, I think if he started, if you just went with a stray start, that could go his way. But, yeah, I don't really want to play bench players, and I'm kind of with you on that point. The Sixers news will be important to kind of keep track of. I think those two-way players, I actually don't know how many games they have left, but there could be like one more game where a Jalen Hurts-Cafino has to sit or whatever. You never know.
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts on this one?
No, let's get to the next game.
All right, the next game is a barn burner. Celtics taking on the Orlando Magic. The good news, though, if you're looking at it from a DFS point of view, I know that you're a Celtics fan, not really looking forward to it, but here's all who is out for the Boston Celtics tonight. Derek White, Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jaylen Brown is – I don't think Jaylen Brown's going to play either. So – what does that give us, Mangone? Well, it gives us the knight in shining armor. Peyton Pritchard Day at 6,700. You have Sam Hauser at 4,200. You have Baylor Shireman, who is a Creighton legend, by the way. Baylor Shireman at 3,900. I don't know who to get excited for on the Celtics side. This is a rough spot overall, Mangone, right? Like, we don't love going against the Orlando Magic in Orlando specifically. And then if you looked at it on the opposite side of the ball, are you going to play Banchero at 10K? Are you going to play Franz at 8.8? The answers to that are probably not, because in the next game, you're probably going to be clicking on Laker a lot tonight. You probably won't have complete room to double stack two studs with Luka in there. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so obviously Peyton Pritchard's a good play. I don't want to discount him. I kind of think – I assume J.D. Davison starts. Let me figure out starting lineup. I think starting lineup is Pritchard, Davison, Hauser, Cornette, and either Walsh, Peterson, Craig, or Tillman, right? Like one of those guys fills in that spot. I think it could be Peterson or Walsh or Craig. I'm not leaning the double big thing as much. But so the point I'm getting at, Rubio, is who are the best plays now? J.D. Davison, I think, becomes the best play in that game. He's going to be a 3K starting point guard. One thing to call out, he might not be the starting point guard. It might more be Peyton Pritchard, but I'm kind of willing to gamble on that at the 3K price tag. I did that with Javon Carter yesterday. I thought Javon Carter was one of the better plays on the slate. I know on our other site he was min salary, not our sponsor site DraftKings. We love DraftKings, but over there he was min salary, and with just the min salary, I loaded up on him. I like min salary point guards, right? Even if it feels gross, it's hard not to play them. So I like J.D. Davison a ton. Pritchard at 6'7". There are paths where he can fail. I do want to call that out. There are paths where maybe if they are getting blown out, let's say they're losing by a lot. Not saying they will be, but let's say they are. If that percentile outcome happens, he will be off the court. So you have to kind of calculate that into some of your decision-making. I like Peyton Pritchard, but he is 6'7". Sam Hauser, 4'2". He's pretty cheap. I do think he's going to get his shot attempts. Luke Cornette, you got to decide what you want to do with centers. Do you want Luke Cornette or an Adam Bona? I don't mind Luke Cornette. I think he's fine. You like Barely Shireman a bit. He could start too over the Walshes. I should have mentioned that. Shireman could easily start, and he's not bad. So for me, I know I'm getting very long-winded, Rubio, but I think it's Davison, Shireman, and Pritchard are the top three on the Celtics. Fourth is probably Hauser. Fifth is probably Cornette. That's probably how I rank them right now. And then Magic side of the ball, I've said this over and over. And, I know AP tagged me in the Discord and we talked about it a little bit, but you got to spend up at forward right now. You just have all these values at center and guard, and the raw points at forward is just so much more valuable. For instance, Davison is a way better play than Bailey Shireman, right? Bailey Shireman has the forward eligibility. And I know Pat Williams was on the winner. He was a cheap forward, but the point I keep getting at is these spend forwards are really good. Their raw points are just worth it. Paolo Banchero's got to be in play and Franz Wagner. They're in play. You might say, oh, they're playing the Boston Celtics. This is not the Boston Celtics. This is the Maine Red Claw Crabs or whatever their affiliate team is. So that's what they're playing. So I like Banchero and Wagner. They're definitely two studs you have to get exposure to. I do want to have like all the Luka Doncic tonight, so that might cause some issues, but it is a special occasion, right? I need to play Luka tonight. I don't really hit the lock button on studs ever, Rubio. I am considering hitting the lock button.
If you fade Luka tonight, good luck. I know that the donkey take is probably you shouldn't click, that the type of ownership, right, on studs where the variability can be pretty large and stuff. But it's Luka lock day. It is. And what that does though is you make a good point. Spend forwards are valuable, and they're valuable purely because if they get 50, which is 5x for Paolo Banchero, you're in good position. I mean, there's no way around it. You're in pretty good position at that point if you get 50 from Banchero, because how many guards did we just talk about in the last game? A lot. Yep. And how many guards are we going to talk about in the next game? Luka, lock, right? Like, you're kind of running out of guard spots. And if you were to get 50 from a forward, look, if you just went to the slate, right? If you just said, let me go ahead and sort by forward only, the highest projected guys are going to be guys like Hauser, Lonnie Walker, who might not even start, right? Like, Lonnie could come off the bench. Salone from Charlotte, who sucks. Johnny Uzang, right? Like, you could legitimately say that 50 from Banchero is going to be good enough. I really like that point that you make. To further kind of hammer that point down a little bit for you, I think this does make a guy like Sam Hauser pretty intriguing, because I think Hauser is a really good basketball player. I think he is going to be the second best player on the court, or on the Celtics side of the court, with Pritchard when he is out there. And I think if you were to give me 35 minutes of Hauser, I think he could absolutely crush, right? And there's not a guarantee that you get 35 minutes, right? Like, it's probably going to land somewhere, below that, because they still do have an abundance of forwards. But this makes me really like Sam Hauser, because I like him from a talent point of view, but also at 4,200, he can get me 25, and I'll be extremely happy, especially on a slate where forwards are a lot more thin than guards. And, we haven't even talked about centers and stuff too, but like, it's kind of case in point of why forwards are so valuable, because guards and centers are usually in abundance. And you make a good point there, man, going, I don't really think I need to add too much on it. I mean, I do think I like Shireman. I hope he starts. I think he is 10 times the player than a guy like Jordan Walsh and stuff. If they start Jordan Walsh tonight, I won't be clicking him even at 3K. I mean, I guess since he is small forward eligible, I'll have to consider it. But I just don't like his game in any capacity at all. It just comes down to getting the starters. And you'll get the starters for this game for the Celtics side. The Magic side, I'm probably not going to be clicking Wendell Carter Jr., and that'll kind of isolate Banchero and Wagner for me, and then just kind of move on from that side of the slate. Anything else to add?
Nope. Let's move on to the next game.
All right. It is Luka Doncic going to Dallas for the first time since being traded by the idiot Nico Harrison. So it should be a fun time that we have ahead of us. Luka is also rumored to be a little bit petty with the sponsorship, right? He said no to certain sponsors looking alive. He is a massive 12.9K on this slate. And this is a good point too from Steve. On the other side of the ball, Anthony Davis is 9,800, right? And the one thing about Anthony Davis, though, forward eligible, man, going power forward eligible, more specifically. I think there are times in DFS where you ignore the projections and you just boost them up to infinity. And I think this is one of those times. And Luka has that dog in him. He does. He's got that dog in him in terms of, I think he'll want to put up 50 real points against the Mavs tonight. And I think he is very capable of doing that. I am going to hammer him in, and I think we're going to have the value to do so. That's why a guy like Hauser at 4,200 really appeals. He is 12.9 though. I want to get your thoughts here, because I think he'll be 30% owned, and I still think that's under owned for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I just still want him. I went to our cores on the site, and I just already plugged him in, because I was like, whatever, let me just plug him in. I do agree with the AD take, like, because he's got that power forward eligibility at 9,800. I think he's a great play too. So like, these two guys are just like, they're two plays I'm going to be overweight on. Like, when the slate locks, if Anthony Davis is 12%, I'll have way more. If he's 40%, I'll still have way more. Same with Luka, right? I'm just going to be overweight on these guys. I'm going to find a way. We're going to have enough value on this slate. I'm not really that worried about it. I want exposure to those two guys. We'll keep that plain and simple. They're absolutely elite plays. I don't really need to say much else. The rest of the game, Rubio, not a lot to like, right? Like, so I believe the Lakers just need to win one more game. Is that correct? They only have to win one more, and then they're fine.
Well, so you're talking about the play-in. So this is to be noted. I really like talking playoff situations. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. Right now, the Lakers sit at the 3 seed. All right, they would be 49-31, which would put them at 2 games left, and they would have a 2-game and the tiebreaker over the Nuggets. So the Nuggets wouldn't be able to pass them unless, well, they would be able to pass them because they still have a game in hand or whatever that is,
Sure.
right? So basically, they would avoid the play-in with a win, though, because you're right. The Grizzlies are sitting at 47 wins. However, they already have 32 losses. And the Lakers are also, I believe they are division winners. Is that right? Yeah, they will be division winners at that point, which gives them a tiebreaker over anyone else. Because I think that's how they would get the tiebreaker over the Nuggets.
Yeah, so and then they play Houston and Portland. I wouldn't be shocked if they have the ability to. I wouldn't be shocked if they full on rested against Houston and then they played against Portland. I guess they could go either way, but I guess what I'm getting at is like I do think this game is really important for their playoff stuff. Like I think they're going to push for this game.
Oh yeah,
no doubt. I mean, Luka's just a great play. You got to play him. Braun. At 10-3, it's like I'd rather just play Banchero. I'd rather play Anthony Davis, who we talked about. They got Rui back. Reeves at 8-7. It just feels too expensive for Reeves. I know he's been playing good basketball, but there's other guys I'd rather get to. Dallas side of the ball, it's definitely a little bit tougher. I should ask you, Rubio, do you have any interest in Max Christie revenge at 3.3K? I do not. I think it's the wrong slate because we have so much value, but I figured I'd ask.
You know, I'm probably one of Max Christie's biggest fans. I think I probably bet him more than any other person in the betting space because I really do love hammering his overs. They have not paid dividends lately, but they were a very hot commodity, especially even before he got traded from the Lakers. I was hitting them. But no, you know, at 3,300, I could be talking to stupider things, and I am a stupid man. So I will gladly.
It's the wrong slate, and like the Exums, the Clays. I'm not really interested in these guys. So for me, it's Anthony Davis and Luka, and move on. I think I'm pretty strong on that opinion today.
Austin Reeves is the best third option in the league, Jake. You know that. He's the best third option in the league. However, you don't play him at 8,700 on Luka's night. You don't play LeBron. Well, you know what? Okay. We talked about Banchero. You can take LeBron. But I do expect LeBron to be deferring today. LeBron does love a story, right? He does love to be like, you know, be a part of something like this. I think he'll defer to Luka a lot. He did have a decent game last time out too. I did mention like the last time we were on a show and stuff, how LeBron James was kind of dipping performance wise and hasn't really looked himself since returning from the groin injury. Yesterday, 28-7 or yesterday, 28-7 and 3. Look, I'm not going to be playing him on Luka's night though. I'd rather have Banchero. I think straight up Banchero. And what do you think? I mean, I know that's across games and stuff, but I think
I'd rather have AD. I'd rather have Banchero. I just think there's other option I'd get to. And Jake, Austin Reeves is also, you said best undrafted player in the NBA since, he's best undrafted player. So, he's good, but not tonight in DFS. I don't need you, Austin Reeves. I can go on to the next game. But like I said, studs, and just move on.
Yep, AD and Luka specifically. And then, if you play anyone else in this game, send me a head-to-head. No, okay, I'm kidding.
No, we did get some news. I know it doesn't matter to this slate, but SGA did get ruled out. I know it's like the later slate stuff, but maybe those Thunder dominoes are starting to fall. So I figured I'd mention it.
Yep, Hartenstein out as well. I mean, I did mention to you too because I wasn't completely alert to that Thunder news before the show and stuff, but Jalen Williams props would have been the move, right? Whenever he's playing the point center role, but
he's doubtful. He could easily get upgraded to questionable like today and then play, but I doubt it.
Well, the thing with Dagnall is that he did run with a with a center kind of controlling the offense and stuff. I'm curious if that'll be the case tonight. That is just something fun to watch as a basketball nerd. And if you do notice a trend, this is what I do like a lot. If you do notice a trend with the Thunder, how they're running their offense early, bet it, because these markets won't be completely adjusted to it. The first time that Jalen Williams got a triple-double, he had 4 assists in the first quarter. His prop for the rest of the game was 6, then 7, then 8. It kept climbing as he kept getting more and more assists. So if you notice a trend for the OKC Thunder, I do recommend watching that game tonight from a live betting point of view. All right, we'll move on. Hornets taking on the Raptors. So real quick, the Lakers do need to win 2 more games to clinch the division. The Clippers, they do hold the tiebreaker over them. A Clippers loss or 2 Lakers wins would guarantee them out of the play-in and then into the what is that? Well, I guess, God, I actually don't know how that works now because the Warriors are sitting right there too. The best case thing they can do is just win, though. But speaking of situations like this where you're kind of looking at the standings, I'd like to look at the standings for teams like the Hornets, right? They're at 19 wins. They are closest to the Pelicans at 21 wins, right? Now, there is a chance that they just kind of let the gloves off and don't really care much about winning or losing, but I think it would take one more loss for that to be the case. As far as the Raptors go, they are officially in no man's land. Can you believe that? The Spurs are the closest team at 32 wins. No one is within 2 wins either direction. So there's a chance they just stop tanking, right? Like stop tanking in terms of, yeah, we'll go ahead and let these guys play, right? In terms of if they're playing well, like RJ Barrett, for example. And the reason why we mentioned RJ Barrett, forward eligibility, 8,200, not the worst in the world. When I look at, maybe Emmanuel Quickly and stuff, I don't love these guys by any means, but I'm just trying to think of a case for them. For the Hornets, you have 3 guys who project really well, and a lot of that has to do with the injury situation, right? I will say this, Mango, with Mark Williams out, Yusuf Nurkic is going to project incredible at 5,300. Moussa Diabate, his status is questionable. What's going to happen with him? Because I think that's going to impact the slate greatly. And I know that sounds like a really nerdy thing to say, but like if he's out, Saloon and Nurkic are going to be really good flicks. And I don't like Saloon at all. I know I'm mispronouncing his name. I apologize. But 4,400 at forward eligibility there. I mean, you would just have to be interested in him. Yusuf Nurkic, 5,300. If you guarantee me 30 minutes of him, I have to be interested in him. And there's a decent chance that they split 3 minutes of the 3 guys between the power forward and center minutes of Gibson, Nurkic, and Saloon. Maybe they could go small ball with Daquan Jeffries a little bit, but man, really intriguing spot here because of the injuries, right?
Yeah, I agree. Nurkic is priced up at 5.3. It's not like dirt cheap, but like he can break the slate at that price, right? So yes, that Diabate news matters. I want Diabate out in order to play Nurkic. I think that would give me a nice boost there. The guards. I assume one of KJ Simpson, Nick Smith Jr. will start alongside a Seth Curry. I assume it'll be KJ Simpson as the starter. Those guys are fine. Like I said, they're priced up though. Like KJ Simpson is 5'6". It's not like he's free. Ownership wise, I don't really see much ownership on these guys. I don't know if Saber has
It's not updated yet. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some.
They have Luke at 2% for what it's worth. So
yeah. They've got some errors on their end right now on Saber, but hey, it's NBA late season, so I get it. But anyways, KJ Simpson's fine. I think I prefer those Sixers guys a little bit more though. I need to know who's in and out though, right? That's going to matter. They got Jalen Sins there who could obviously take up some usage. Let's talk about Toronto though, because again, I don't love Charlotte. Toronto's tough because they got Scotty Barnes. He's questionable. Jakob Poeltl questionable. RJ Barrett quickly. They could easily get some good run and do well. I kind of want to just wait for starters and then make a decision and like wait for news. I don't like playing a lot of the Raptors already. And I want to be a little cautious with these guys. So I assume you agree there's just better values. Like the Sixers and Washington values seem better. The Celtics values seem way better. Like, sure, I could play pieces of this game, but I don't think it's a spot to prioritize.
So I would. Oh yeah, I'm just going to pitch you a situation here because I do think this is a lot of reactionary stuff.
Agreed.
Right, I'm going to throw you the situation. It's 7-10. Diabate just got rolled out. Does that change your perspective of just jamming in maybe the Nurkic, Salone? Like,
who did you claim got rolled out besides?
if Diabate was out, right? Just like from that situation. I know it's just one guy and stuff, but to me, I feel like they'll want to play a 24-24 split at center with Nurkic and Diabate. So like to me, that would really increase Nurkic's projection for me. Because I think that could be in 6 to 8 to 10 minutes even for Nurkic that could go in his direction if Diabate's ruled out.
I don't disagree. The only thing I'll call out is like, and again, I think he's a good play. I'm just stating like, is he that much better than Luke Cornett for 200 more? Is he that much better than Adam Bona for 400 more?
So I'll counter you on Cornett. There is a chance the Celtics could play 3 centers easily. Right?
Yes, I agree on that point. Yes.
Yeah.
I think Bona's the big one.
Bona is, you know what? We didn't really spend a ton of time on Bona, but like, well, it was the show that we did last time, right? Like where the news ended up where Bona was starting and stuff, and he went 13 for 15 shooting against the Bucks, absolutely dominated. He's also a rebounding machine. Like if he can just stay out of foul trouble and stuff, I do think Bona. You know what? I'm going to counter you. I'll prefer Nurkic over Bona, but they're both great plays. Because I think Nurkic has, and I know that, you know what, people are going to call me stupid as hell for this take, triple-double upside.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I want to look up the.
I firmly believe that, too. Have you seen his assist rate with the Hornets?
No, I know. I just want to call out, like, Rubio. What's the most minutes he's played in – what's the most minutes he's played in the month of March?
24 would be my guess, because they've been playing 3 centers the entire time.
The only game that was over 24, and it was 2 games at 24, and then 1 at 28 was against Cleveland. He did go 12, 5, and 15. He had 5 fouls, but I don't know. I mean, I just want to call it he's not 4-3 anymore. He is 5-3, and there's other good plays in that range. I don't think it's like I think you want to play him, Rubio, but like I don't think you want to just ditch Bona and ditch Cornett, if that makes sense.
I'm ditching Cornett. I'm dragging him at the edge of my truck. I'm going to have him just dangling there and stuff. I'm ditching him. All right.
Cornett. I'm okay with that, but you can't ditch Bona. Bona's still really good.
Yeah. You know what, man? I'm going to go ahead and just make the stand out, too. He might be my play of the day at the end of this. But it would take Diabate being out to really push it over the edge.
Right? Well, that's fair, because if Diabate's in it, it muddies it up big time. So
because then I could still see a 24-24 split. I'm looking at it right now, too. The game that you did mention, too, the 28 minutes against the Cavs, Diabate was in, but it was still a really messy 28 minutes there. And he did play really well. He did have 15 boards, 5 assists in that game, too. But, yeah, I mean, definitely kind of want to throw caution into the wind, though. A lot of it depends on Diabate's status. I don't have a ton of interest in Toronto. You already mentioned it, too. But, like, I mean, if you really wanted to take a chance, why like maybe Banchero isn't as great as I kind of first thought, but like I could take a chance on like RJ Barrett. But again, you know, we don't really know what the Raptors are doing. I mean, really in any capacity. I think
you said it great earlier. Like this is a reactionary game. It's not really a game that's easy to talk about right now, and it's just you just need to know these questionable tags.
I agree. All right, let's move on to the battle of the Reds. We got the Miami Heat taking on the Chicago Bulls. So the Heat have a questionable tag on Andrew Wiggins. They also are going to be kind of heading into a situation in Chicago where they got a lot of momentum, Mango. A lot of momentum in Chicago's way. Fun fact, this one really impacts play-in seeding. Like, really impacts it. Like, winner of this game probably hosts the 9-10 matchup and even has a chance to jump up into the 8 spot. So a really important playoff style game. And we get Josh Giddey, who's been absolutely killing it. He is 10.1K and guard eligible only, though. None of the Bulls are popping off by any means, man. The Bulls are not really looked at here in terms of projections. If you go to the Heat side, same thing. So despite it being a game of significant importance in terms of the play-in seeding, doesn't look like for DFS standpoint, it's going to be the same thing. What are you thinking?
Rubio, you missed it. I gave you the hint. I gave you the clue. You missed the one play. There's one play that you can definitely play in this game.
The one play that I can definitely click in this game, I'm sitting here. You gave me the clue. Who could it be? Could it be Duncan Robinson? No way.
No, it's not.
Okay, I was going to say, Jake, you led me wrong.
I gave you the clue earlier in the show, Rubio. We can play spend up power forwards.
Bam's power forward eligible?
Yes, he's power forward on DK.
Yeah, he is. He is. You're right. I'm checking that right now.
I'll say this, Ruben. They're moving their positions around a lot lately, so it's not crazy to miss this. So, but yeah, he's got the power forward and center eligibility. That's because of the Khalil Ware stuff, right? They've been splitting and everything.
It makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong at all, but you was center for so long, my brain just broke there because I've been playing a lot of FanDuel.
To be fair, AD was center not too long ago, and now he's power forward, which doesn't make a lot of. I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't make sense. He's just have both eligibilities. But, anyways, Bam Adebayo at power forward is definitely in play. Going up against the Chicago Bulls, really good matchup. I'm expecting Giddey to play, and a lot of these price tags they are priced for guys being out, right? Like all these prices are just too expensive. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere kind of game. The only guy I really like is a Bam Adebayo. Could you talk yourself into a Giddey, a Vucevic, like any of these studs? Sure, but they're just too expensive. So that's where I'm at. I don't mind Khalil Ware, but I prefer some of these cheaper centers that we talked about. And I think that's really it on this game. Of course, if Giddey's out, the entire, everything else changes. But I'm assuming these guys are in because, like you said, this is a playoff game. I felt pretty confident they would sit their guys yesterday to prepare for this game because, this is kind of like a nice dress rehearsal for playoffs for these guys. So, hey, fun real-life game to watch tonight. If you're out at the bar, not sweating DFS, and you want to watch a competitive basketball game with your grandfather, Rubio, that's he might like that. That's like the boomer, the old guy take. But maybe I'm a boomer now. And I should be using a different term, but you get what I'm saying, Rubio. Your dad, your grandfather, they would love to watch this game because it's a hard-earned, gritty playoff game. Yeah,
I mean, it's something like that. I could be talked into watching this game with a nice brew. Is it even on national TV? No, it's going to be the Lakers game on national TV.
Yeah, so that's the game to watch. Everyone wants to watch Luka return.
I'll pass on the Heat Bulls. And you know what? I'll opt in for the Hornets triple-double watch. Steve, I doubt they'll post a Nurkic triple-double prop, but if you can, I would look at his assist. It's a minutes thing at that point. Like, there's a really good stat on, NBA.com for, like, potential assists in the game and stuff, too. It's actually one of my favorite things to kind of identify, like, in terms of, who is handling the ball for a team, right? And if you just look maybe in like the last month, right, maybe the last 5 games or so, the big thing with Nurkic potential assist wise is, oh my gosh, we have a really impressive number here. Oh, only 2. Only 2 in the last 5 games. That is with Mark Williams and Diabate in. So maybe the assist isn't as great as I thought, but I would still bet it if I saw a 3 or a 4 number on the sports books. Right now, they're not posted on the DK Sportsbook at all. All right. I don't really think I have anything else to add on this game. I mean, Bam's probably the one play that I think you can talk me in on, but as far as anyone else goes, probably not. You're the same way, it looks. So let's go ahead and move on to the last game of the slate. The Portland Trailblazers taking on the Utah Jazz. So the good thing about the Blazers, they just got guys who can ball. And what better guy than Denny Adria, right? It kind of fits the bill of spend up forwards. So this is the one guy that I'm expecting you to look at. I don't have a ton of interest in Anthony Simons. I'd rather play the other guards, but you do have Klingon here at 5,800 as well. It can be a fine click, kind of goes into that same pool as Bona, Nurkic, and Klingon and Cornette. You could even add in there too. As far as the Jazz go, I don't know what the rotation is on any given night. I don't love Uzang. He is going to be the top projected on this team. Sexton's going to be there behind him. You have Sensabaugh as well, and then Keontae George all projecting for 5X or more. This game's okay, man. We talked about it earlier, though. Like the Sixers and Wizards is the game of the night, DFS-wise. The Celtics are going to be one of the best values. The Lakers are going to be one of the best studs. The Hornets game is going to be hindered on news. And then this game is just kind of a decent one where maybe you can have a one-off, maybe a small one-on-one game stack as well if you really want it, right?
Yes. I definitely don't mind plays here. Like Keontae George could certainly be a tournament-winning play. A Sexton – Collier's questionable status matters because that would really help Sexton and George and give them a little bit of a boost. Filipowski at 7.3, it feels expensive. I think you could get away with it, but it's not something I would want a lot of. Sensabaugh and Juzang, if one starts, I think they're in play, but I prefer these earlier values we discussed. I do want to mention Portland because I think that spot's really tricky on this slate. So Jeremy Grant and Henderson are already out. Questionable tags on Simons, Duop Reith, and Denny Avdia. This is a late game. I don't think people, unless they get the news in time, I don't think people will backload for this. And like, I do think you could put yourself in a rough spot. Like, Rubio, if you play Denny Avdia and the news isn't there, like, I don't know what you're pivoting to. Like, so like you could get yourself in trouble. I know you like Denny, but I don't think they're going to play. Like, aren't they out of the I would assume they're out of the playoff stuff. Yes or no?
Well, did they just get eliminated? Yes. So the Phoenix Suns somehow are still in, even though they're pretty much eliminated by every bit of the imagination. But the Trailblazers are out of it. One more Mavs win would bury the Suns. The Suns would also have to win out as well. So yes, the Blazers are done from a play-in point of view.
Yeah,
There's more incentive for them to lose this game. I'll say it because you would try and get below the Suns in the standings, and then you would also want to stay below the Heat and Bulls. There is a decent chance that this just becomes a tankathon for the Blazers. And you know what? Have they been tanking in the past? Yes. What did they do a few games ago that Chauncey Billups did? He pulled Denny Avdia in the middle of a close game, and didn't he also pull Simons with 3 minutes to go with within 5? So they're clearly tanking. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. But yeah, I would almost bank them to lose 3 straight here, man, going to finish out the season.
Yeah, they play Golden State and the Lakers, so I would assume that too. But you never know. This is just my thought process. Maybe I'm wrong, but they're at Utah. Like, at altitude, like, is this the spot to play them? Like, why not play them? Like, if you are gonna play your starters, right, your Denny's, your Simons, why not play them in your one of your home games, right, against Golden State or the Lakers in front of your own fans? Like, that's just what I would do. I think it makes sense to sit Denny and Simons. That would obviously boost to who? Banton, but the problem is Banton's price is back up to 5'8", right? This is not cheap for him. Kamara 6'2", he's going to play 30-plus minutes. I don't think he's a terrible play against Utah. Clingan, I agree at 5'8". I'll counter you with, hey, I could play Clingan. If those guys are out, I think Clingan over a Nurkic would be a way better play at 5'8", especially if a Duop Reith is out as well. Shade on Sharp at 8'3". I do think he has tournament winning upside. He's a super uncomfortable click, but I think he's not a bad option. So these guys are in play. You're just not going to have the injury news right away. And you have to kind of come up with a plan in order to figure this out. I think Denny and Simon sit, and I think there is opportunity for Clingan, Sharp, and Banton and Kamara to become way better plays. And I'm not saying I'm planning for it, but I wouldn't ignore it. If it's something as you're building lineups and you're looking at your last guys in and I don't know, you land on a Shade on Sharp, I would consider it, but you got to figure out some backup plans if it doesn't work out. Same with the Isaiah Collier stuff. But you'll get these guys pretty low owned if the news doesn't come till very late.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is a good point too. I really look at it as maybe a chance to kind of get a little bit different too. If you did want values that you wanted to bank on, if you did want a really late tournament pivot, could be Banton too. Because I think at 5,800, I would definitely be intrigued by Banton because he is a usage beast right when he's in. Shaden Sharp though will be the one who does play, probably the superstar role that we kind of see with the Trailblazers from time to time. I would say from this point of view though, Mangone, if we got the news at 7:15, you would miss out on I still think the first 2 games are the best games. So you're not going to be in terms of value, in terms of upside too, with the Sixers and Wizards.
Yeah.
But you could still make some good pivots before if we got it before the Hornets, Raptors, and Lakers Mavs game, right?
Sure.
Because if I got it at that's still. I mean, this game is an hour after the Heat and Bulls. Man, what do you do? I think you would. If you did really want a piece from this game, you plug in a guy like Sexton and then have the ability to pivot down to Banton or something like that. Or maybe if you have Uzang, you can go down to Jabari Walker, Chris Murray. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but if you wanted to, I probably wouldn't go 2 guys for this game, Mango. I really wouldn't. If I was just building 1 to 3 lineups or so, I probably don't have anyone for this game that could be impacted heavily by news in a negative way. Because like, what if Denny was in, right? I don't want Denny, at 9,900 if when I'm with an hour and a half of any other stud. Yeah, I mean, this is just a really weird game, right?
Yeah, Rubio, I do not disagree with you at all. I guess what I'm getting at is like, if you're playing 1 to 3 lineups, I think this game's a lot harder. If you're playing MME,
yes.
If you're playing MME, this one's a little difficult, and I would consider Xing out like someone like Denny because your entire slate could be ruined if he's out, basically, or a team could be ruined. Unless it's in the utility spot, and then you could switch to a shade on Sharp. I think that would be the best way to kind of approach it. But I just think you have to kind of have a little bit of a plan with this. And I do think Portland is pretty good at giving us news ahead of time. Like, I think they'll give us the news before Miami, Chicago. So that's at least a plus. You'll have the ability, like if you are going to make some plans for this, you have the ability to pivot. Like if you have Denny Avia in the utility spot, you could switch it to Bam right like an hour before if you want to. Like just come up with a plan is all I'm getting at.
Yep, I like that. Coming up with a plan is definitely the most important thing. Let's go ahead and get into our plays of the day, man. We have the MLB show coming up right after this, and it'll be a good time. We have a nice MLB slate tonight. It's a little bit smaller slate with all the day games that we had, but still should be a little bit of fun. Masters tomorrow, RPS 15% off your first purchase here. And again, you'll have a nice premium master show with JBC, Bryce, and Sully Bro Chill. You have a bunch of top 10 DFS players in the world just talking about the master slate. Will be a good watch. Premium only as well. All right, man, I'm going to go ahead and just go first, right? Play of the day. If Diabate is out, Nurkic, right? And I know that's news dependent, right? Nurkic is my guy. You know what? He might even be my guy with Diabate in. Who knows? But I'll give a bonus one as well, right? Who better than Sam Hauser? And you know what? You ready for a pop quiz? This one isn't going to be as simple because I'm not giving you the Cincinnati area here. Where does Sam Hauser go to college? You got 2 choices here.
Was it Boston College?
No, not at all.
Was it Marquette? Okay.
And Virginia for a year, but I prefer Marquette. That's where I remember.
No, it was Marquette. I think his brother Joey went to Michigan, I think.
Well, it was funny. I think they were both at Marquette, and then he went to Michigan State. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny thing where Marquette had both those guys. Sam Hauser obviously being the better of the bunch too, but. Yeah, I'll have Hauser, and then if we do get the news that falls right, Nurkic is my guy tonight. Mangone, who's your play of the day?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. I mean, it's like so hard when like you're incorporating ownership, right? I always try to give a lower owned one, but I'm just gonna go out and I want to play JD Davison. Like I know this is a spot to load up on him. Is he gonna be the highest owned guy or something? Rubio, is that my one worry about giving? Am I giving out like the chalk of all the chalk?
No, I don't know what the ownership on him is going to look like, right?
Yeah,
I do think he'll be chalky. Don't get me wrong, but like, I was just kind of shocked to hear the name, right? JD Davis. He's a guy that I kept jamming in Summer League every single time, and he's a guy who is a stud in the G League as well. It's like I'm all for that. I just wasn't expecting to hear JD Davis' name.
Yeah, like when I remember when I played the Rising Star stuff, I jammed him a ton on that,
and he sucked for us there.
I know. But he made sense, man. I promise you, he owes me. So he's gonna pay me back tonight. JD Davison is that guy. He'll be the play.
I love it. Davison and Hauser. Use 2 Celtics values and then Nurkic because I really want that assist prop posted for him. Good news, man. Jalen Williams with a Y is no longer on the injury report, so could be point center tonight for him. I'll be interested in those props. So it will be a lot of fun. 4-man Gone and 4i. We appreciate y'all for watching. Have a great rest of y'all's day. Again, code RPS15, 15% off your first purchase here at Run for Your Sports. Join in for Masters Week, and bye-bye.